Hello and warm regards from NEXT IAS team. Welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis. Today, the topics that we are going to cover. The first one is MSP for Kharif Crops. Second topic is sodium-ion batteries. Third, size of Indian economy. Fourth topic is about illegal immigrants. And lastly, about the poverty alleviation that we are going to cover in good news in single digits. So let's start with the first topic. In the explain section, the first topic that we are going to cover is about the MSP hike for this Kharif season. Now, the news is that the center has approved MSP for the Kharif crops and the total outlay is 2.07 lakh crores. This topic becomes relevant from paper 3 of General Studies in the agriculture section. And this news article is important one because it is covered by both the Hindu as well as the Indian Express. Now, what is the news here? The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, you have to tell me who is the chairman for this Cabinet Committee. Is it Finance Minister, Prime Minister or any other minister? Has approved the increase in MSP for 14 crops for this financial year 2025-26. This year the MSP has been brought early rather than the usual one. The basic reason is that because the monsoon is early this time and to help farmers in planning their agriculture, what cropping pattern they are going to follow to help them in to plan in advance. That's why this MSME has been brought earlier. Now the total outlay is 2.07 lakh crores. Now the basic principle, the increase in MSP is in line with the Union Budget 2018-19 announcement that MSP will be fixed at a level at least 1.5 times the all India weighted average cost of production. That means government is trying to ensure that MSP should be at least 1.5 times the cost of production that the farmer is acquiring. Now if we see the past data, from year 2004-5 to 2013-14, the total procurement of the Kharif crop was 4,679 lakh tons. This current decade 2014 to 15 to 2024-25, the total procurement was 7,871 lakh tons. This data can be used by you in your mains examination. Now let's go to the current news. What the current news says? The current news says that Ragi in terms of percentage has got the maximum hike of 13.89%. So Ragi has got the maximum hike of 13.89%. If we talk in terms of value, then in absolute sense, the MSP hike over the previous year has been maximum for the Niger seed. It is 820 per quintal. So here this is the Ragi which has got the maximum hike of 13.89%, and then the Niger seed that is at the fourth position, it has got the maximum absolute hike and it is of 820 rupees. This is the list of the crops which have been accorded the MSP status for this current Kharif season. Now, if we see in the MSP, there are basically four categories. The first three categories. The first category is cereal, coarse grains and cereals. Now, these coarse grains and cereals are procured by FCI through their designated state agencies. States can also procure the cereals and coarse grain at MSP, but they have to take a prior permission from the Government of India. And the agency involved is Food Corporation of India here. Second is pulses, oilseed and copra. These are procured only when the market price is below the MSP that has been given to that particular crop. So, in case the market price falls below the MSP, then the procurement for the pulses and oilseed can be done. Now, they will be procured under the price support scheme of the PM Asha scheme in consultation with the state governments. So, this you should know. Third one is cotton and jute. The procurement, it is procured at MSP through dedicated government corporations. Now, these dedicated government procurement corporations are, first one is Cotton Corporation of India, second is Jute Corporation of India. So, these two agencies are responsible for procurement of cotton and jute. Now, if we see the overall procurement limit, is there any procurement limit or not? So, the central government's procurement is kept at 25% to the all India for commodity in a given season or year. That means 25% can be procured by the central government. That is the maximum limit it can procure. Second, this procurement limit does not apply to cotton and jute. That simply means cereals and oilseeds. The maximum procurement can be 25% of the overall production in the country that the central government can do. Now, next is the minimum support price. What is this minimum support price? Minimum support price is the predetermined price at which government buys certain crops from the farmers. This MSP, the MSP came into picture at the time of Green Revolution. During the time of Green Revolution, there was bumper production. Due to that bumper production, there was a lot of supply of the cereal crops or crops in the market. Whenever the supply increases the demand, then obviously the price is going to decrease. Simple dynamics of the demand and supply laws. Now, the supply increased and demand obviously was less than the supply at the time of harvesting. That's why the price of the cereal crops dropped. Now, when the cereal crops price dropped, it actually affected the farmers because they were putting a lot of inputs in the production of the crops. They were using fertilizers because during the Green Revolution, the use of fertilizers, the use of water was very high. So use of fertilizers, pesticides and other inputs has increased the production cost and the price have fallen in the market. So that's why the price that the farmer was getting was very, very less and he was disincentivized to produce. So as to have a fair remuneration for the farmers, the concept of MSP was provided. MSP simple means minimum support price. It comes in picture in case when the price of the crop falls below the production level, then there should be a minimum support price at which the government is going to procure. It simply means अगर प्राइस इतना ज़्यादा गिर जाए कि फार्मर के लिए रिन्यूमेटिव नहीं रहेगा, उस केस में सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट प्रोक्योरमेंट करेगी किस पे? At the minimum support price or MSP. Now it is announced at the start of each cropping season for 22 crops and it is on the basis of recommendation given by CACP. So this MSP is given by Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs and on the advice of CACP. So CACP advises the Cabinet or Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs to fix the MSP for a crop for the particular season. The Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices is a statutory body and it is attached to Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. Next is which are the crops that are given MSP. So there are 7 cereal crops including paddy, wheat, maize, sorghum, pearl millet, barley and ragi. The pulses are 5: gram, tur, mung, urad, lentil. Then there are 7 oil seeds: groundnut, rapeseed, mustard, soybean, sesame, sunflower, safflower and niger seeds. And lastly there are 4 commercial crops also: copra, sugarcane, cotton and raw jute. So these are the crops which come into ambit of the MSP. Next, in addition to MSP, Toria and dehusked coconut are fixed bases on the MSP of the rapeseed or mustard and copra. So these 2 crops are also having MSPs. Next is what are the factors which are considered for defining a MSP. Now, first of all, supply and demand of the commodities becomes important. Whenever we are defining that this is going to be the MSP. For example, MSP for Niger seed is around 9,000 rupees. So why 9,000 rupees? It will be decided on these factors. First of all, supply and demand. Second, market price trend. What are the market price trends that are going up? Third, parity with respect to other crops. Then implication for consumers and environment. What will be the implication for the consumers and what will be the implication for the environment? For example, using high production of paddy in the Haryana and Punjab states, it is actually against the environment. Why? Because these are not having that much irrigation facilities and this high amount of irrigation is actually affecting the soil productivity. So these factors are also going to be taken care of. Then next is terms of trade between agriculture and non-agriculture sectors. So on basis of these factors, the MSP will be decided. Now, when we are deciding MSP, there is a formula that is given. The formula includes, first of all, there is an element known as A2. A2 means direct cost. Whatever the cost the farmer is occurring, for example, the cost of seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, hired labor. Second is A2 plus FL. So A2, FL means the unpaid family labor. So whatever unpaid family labor is that will be included. Now by clubbing these two, the MSP is decided. Third element is C2. C2 means A2 plus FL plus the rental and interest foregone on owned land and capital assets. That simply means by adding the input cost, the family labor cost that is unpaid, and thirdly the C2. C2 means C2 includes the third thing also, that is rent. If the farmland was not cultivated and it would have been rented out, then what amount the farmer would have got. So that is C2. Now CSCP considers both A2 plus FL and C2 cost, but MSP are declared on the basis of A2 plus FL cost of production. So on basis of these two, the MSP is decided for a particular crop. Next is fair and derivative prices. This FRP is given for sugarcane. So price which mills means sugarcane mills are legally bound to pay to farmers for the cane procured from them. So for sugarcane we have a fair and remunerative price. For crops we have a MSP. Now at the start of the sugarcane season, the FRP is announced by the union government based on the recommendations of the CSCP. What are the factors considered for FRP? Cost of production of the sugarcane, then returns to growers and alternative crops, then availability of sugar to consumer at fair price, then recovery of sugar for the sugarcane, then realization made from sale of byproducts, etc. So on basis of these factors, the FRP is also decided. Third thing is what is the difference between FRP and MSP? So FRP is the minimum support price for the sugarcane purchased by the sugar mills from the farmers. MSP क्या है? MSP is the government agencies pay to the farmers to procure crops from them. Second, mandated crops. The mandated crops under FRP is sugarcane. The mandated crops under MSP is 22 crops, that list that we have discussed. Third one is illegal backing. The government has given the statutory sugar control order for the FRP. So for FRP it is given under the Sugarcane Control Order 1966. For MSP there is no legal backing. That's what the farmers were demanding, that there should be a law ensuring or guaranteeing MSP. So that has not been given yet. Now next is FRP. So with respect to FRP there are other things also. One is a state advised price. This is given by the states. States can set their own SAP which sugar mills must pay farmers. SAP is generally higher than the FRP. So in case the state finds that the FRP is not as par with the production cost that the farmers are incurring, then they can allow for a state advised price. The next is minimum selling price. That is important. This is also MSP. So one MSP was minimum support price. This is minimum selling price. This is the minimum selling, MSP is for the sugar, that is minimum selling price for the sugars. It was introduced under Sugarcane Price Control Order of 2018, Essential Commodities Act of 1955. The government fixes MSP of sugar taking into account the components of FRP of the sugarcane and the minimum conversion cost of the most efficient mills. That simply means this is the minimum price at which the sugar should be sold. That means if the MSP or minimum selling price for sugar is 30 rupees, then no sugar mill can sell the sugar at less than 30 rupees. It has to be more than 30 rupees. So this is to ensure that the sugar mills are viable. They are not affected by the undue competition of price advantage. तो उससे बचने के लिए कि ऐसा ना हो कि शुगर के प्राइसेस डाउन हो जाए जिसकी वजह से शुगर केन की प्रोक्योरमेंट में प्रॉब्लम आएगी, उस चीज को अवॉइड करने के लिए minimum selling price for sugar was introduced in 2018. This becomes very important. Next, modified interest subvention scheme, that is one more scheme that was also in the news. So under MIS, short-term credit is provided to farmers at an affordable interest rate through Kisan credit cards. Recently, the government has approved the continuation of this interest subvention component under MISS for the financial year for 2025-26. Now, based upon the discussion, you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. The second topic in the explain section is about the sodium-ion batteries. What is the news here? The Indian players double down on sodium-ion chemistry as China tightens Li or lithium-ion stranglehold. So it is the backdrop that China dominates both supply of lithium and lithium-ion battery technology. So because China is dominating the lithium sector for the battery, that's why we need alternatives. And the problem with the China's domination is that it actually weaponizes these technologies. How it weaponizes? It creates a supply crunch. Due to that supply crunch, the other industries which are dependent upon these technologies are affected. So that's why the Indian scientists are now working upon sodium ion battery. We are going to discuss why we are focusing on sodium ion and what is the impact of that. Now, why this topic is relevant? This topic is relevant from GS paper 3 in the renewable sector as well as science and technologies because it is corresponding to both the things. Let's see the news. The recent initiatives in sodium ion batteries. A research team at Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research situated at Bangalore has developed a super fast charging sodium ion battery. So that is very, very important because the charging time has been reduced. Earlier than that, KPTI Technologies and Tenter Energy Solutions are collaborating on sodium ion battery technology. IIT Bombay has also claimed a breakthrough in stabilizing sodium ion cathodes. So these are the important developments with respect to sodium ion batteries in the country. Now, something about this battery. This battery charges up to 80% in just 6 minutes. That becomes very important. This is the time required to fill a CNG in a CNG car. So this 6 minutes, it becomes very important for us because 80% of the charging can be done in this time. Secondly, the lifespan has also been increased. The lifespan for these batteries will be 3000 cycles, charge cycles. And it is nearer to the lithium-ion battery standards. Third one, it is developed using NEXT type chemistry with material engineering enhancement. The NEXT means sodium super ionic. It means sodium super ionic conductor. Now this technology, sodium Na means sodium super ion conductor. This technology is being used for developing these sodium ion batteries. It combines nanotechnology and chemistry for faster charging. And the novel engineering methods that are being used, they include nanoscale particle size for faster ion movement, carbon coating to improve conductivity, and aluminum doping on the anodes for enhanced performance. So these three novel materials or new metals are being used in this technology. Now if we talk about the lithium-ion batteries, your mobile phones, the electric vehicles that are coming, they are all having lithium-ion batteries. But why? Because lithium-ion is very, very light, and due to its light weights, its energy density increases. Per weight, it can store more energy. But the lithium-ion batteries are having their own challenges. The first challenge is the raw material. The raw material used here is lithium, and it is scarce as well as expensive. Along with lithium, other elements like cobalt, nickel, copper, and lithium, obviously we have discussed. So other elements, cobalt, nickel, copper, they are also very expensive. So it increases the cost of these batteries. And this question upon the elements being used in the batteries, this has also come in 2025 prelims paper. So these questions become important for you. Next, there is geopolitical and supply chain risks that are associated with the lithium ion. Lithium is available or concentrated in only a few countries. One area is known as lithium triangle. The lithium triangle includes Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile. So this is the lithium triangle. It is situated in South America. So most of the lithium reserves are situated in this region itself. In India also, one place known as Raisi in Jammu and Kashmir is considered to be having a lot of lithium resources. Now, what are the other problems? It requires hard rock mining, making supply chain vulnerable and environmentally taxing. Next, the one important reason is China's domination. China is dominating the supply chain of lithium as well as lithium-ion batteries. Two important companies which are related with this lithium battery technology are CATL and BYD. Both are Chinese and both are creating unnecessary supply chain constrictions for these batteries. Then there are environmental concerns also. Mining of the lithium and its refining process is not at all environment friendly. It is having negative impacts on the environment. Then what are the safety concerns? The lithium ion must be stored with a minimum charge. And if the minimum charge is not there, then there can be fire risk as well. So there are fire risks that are associated with the storing of the lithium ions. Secondly, there is one important phenomenon known as thermal runaway under extreme temperatures that is often being observed with lithium ion batteries. What is thermal runaway? Thermal runaway simply means, you might have heard about that कि battery burst हो गया mobile phone का. That is basically thermal runaway. So thermal runaway is an uncontrollable self-heating process where a component's temperature rises due to positive feedback loop leading to potential damage and even fires. So that is known as thermal runaway. This term becomes important for us. Now next is the sodium ion batteries, how they are important, what is their potential, how they are significant. First of all, we have already discussed 80% charging in 6 minutes. That's an important feat. Still in mobile phones we are not having this thing. So that's a very important thing that is actually going to make the electric vehicles more viable for us. Next is it claims to having a life cycle of over 3000 charge cycles. That is also an important thing. Third, the sodium is very abundant. Easily we can extract sodium from the seawater itself. So it is having a cheap raw material. Along with that, there are the other materials, for example, copper. Instead of copper, aluminium is being used here. So this decreases the overall cost of these batteries. So this is an important thing for us. Then they are environmental friendly and safer also. Lastly, they are having a high operating temperature range. That is, the problem of fire risk and thermal runaways is not associated with the sodium ion batteries. So these are the important points with respect to the sodium ion batteries. And question can be easily asked that how the new battery technologies are better than the lithium ion batteries. Next is, then are there any challenges associated with sodium ion batteries? Yes, there are challenges. For example, first one is low energy density. The lithium ion batteries are having a high energy density. That means they can store more amount of energy in less amount of the weight. With the sodium ion, the energy storage capacity is little less. They are having a low energy density. Second, there is shorter life cycle as well. The lithium ion batteries are having a cycle of more than 8000 charge cycles, whereas sodium ion batteries are having only up to 3000 charging cycles. So that is another challenge that we face. The limited design flexibility is there with the sodium ion batteries. The sodium ion batteries cannot be shaped as prismatic or cylindrical forms, whereas lithium ion batteries can be in any form. They can be rectangular, they can be prismatic form में हो सकते हैं वो, they can be in cylindrical form also, but the sodium ion batteries cannot be in these forms. So that becomes another important challenge for us. Lastly, higher cost, currently due to nascent stage and fewer manufacturers. See, this design flexibility becomes very important for us. Why? Because the design flexibility, for example, you are using airports. When you are using airports, then you see there is a lithium ion battery there. So the shaping or designing becomes important for us. Next is, you have to attempt this MCQ based upon the discussion and you have to post the answer in comment box. The third topic that we are having is size of economy, India versus others. This topic becomes relevant from GS paper 3, that is economy. Now the backdrop is that India has become the 4th largest economy of the world. Recently, Niti Aayog CEO BVR Subramanian declared India has overtaken Japan to become the 4th largest economy in the world. He based his claims on the data provided by the IMF. Before India, US is at the first position, China is at the second position, and Germany is at the third position. At 4th, India is there, and at 5th, Japan is there. Although the gap between India and Japan is very less, but still India is at the 4th position. That is a feat that we have achieved now. Now this 4th position is on the basis of nominal GDP and it is measured in the terms of US dollars. So the claim that we are having that India has become the 4th largest economy is on the basis of nominal GDP. But if we see in terms of GDP on basis of PPP, that is purchasing power parity, India has already been at the 3rd position since 2009. So in 2009 itself, India became the 3rd largest economy if we compare on terms of PPP, that is GDP on PPP terms. In nominal terms, we have now become the 4th largest economy. India's aggregate GDP may surpass countries like UK and Japan, but per capita income remains extremely low. If we compare with UK, India's per capita income is 2,879 US dollars, whereas for UK it is 54,949 US dollars. That means it is 20 times more richer than India. Now, when we calculate per capita GDP on basis of PPP, India still languishes very far behind from the world average. If world average is 100, India is only at 40%. Now, we are talking about two terms, GDP in nominal terms and GDP in terms of purchasing power parity. What is the difference between two? See, when we talk about GDP, that is a nominal GDP. It is a total value of goods and services produced within an economy measured at current market price. So, these terms are very important. It is the total value of goods and services produced in an economy at current market price. So, that is our nominal GDP. Another term is there that is known as real GDP. If we remove the element of inflation, then it becomes real GDP. So, one is nominal GDP, that means when we are calculating GDP at the current price. Real GDP, when we are calculating GDP in terms of a base year. Third one is GDP in terms of purchasing power parity. Purchasing power parity, what does this term means? Purchasing, जो हम परचेज करते हैं, पावर, कितनी पावर है परचेज करने की, उसको जब हम कंपेयर करते हैं तो बन जाता है हमारा परचेजिंग पावर पैरिटी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, गेटिंग वन मील, एक टाइम का खाना खाने में, और गेटिंग वन टाइम मील इन यूएस मे कॉस्ट यू $2 रुपीज. $2 simply means it is 170 or 175 rupees. So in US, if you want to eat food at once time a day, you need 175 rupees. But in India, the food can be procured at as low as 30 rupees. So that is the purchasing power parity. So whatever a person can purchase in 30 rupees, that person needs 175 rupees to purchase in that another country. A simple example can be a person living in a village and a person living in a city. Although they might be earning same, but a person living in a village can have more facilities or can have a better life standards than a person living in a city, because in a city he is having a lot of expenses. The room rent will be very high, the food cost will be very high, the inflation will be very high in the cities. So this is purchasing power parity, that in same amount, that there is a basket of goods. For example, the basket of goods can be food, it can be fuel, it can also include house rent, it can include clothes. So there will be a basket of goods, and we are going to compare, to buy this basket of goods, what cost is incurred in that particular country, what amount is needed to get these things in US, and what amount is needed to get these things in India. So when we compare, that becomes purchasing power parity. So although India's GDP might be low, India might not be able to, in the terms of rupees, India's GDP might be comparable with respect to Japan. But when we compare what we can buy in that particular amount, we are way ahead with respect to Japan. So GDP in terms of PPP is an adjustment to nominal GDP that accounts for differences in the cost of living and relative price of goods and services between these two countries. So that you should be knowing. Next is GDP. GDP is the monetary value of final goods and services produced in a country, that we have already studied in the basics, in your basic economics. Then GDP can be on basis of, can be divided as GDP can be calculated in terms of production method, expenditure method and income method. And types of GDP include nominal GDP and real GDP. Nominal GDP is measured at current prices. Real GDP is calculated by adjusting inflation using base year's price. For example, this pen might be costing this year ₹1,000 rupees, but last year the cost might be 500 rupees. So the pen is simple, but the cost has increased, or inflation is there. So when we can calculate how many pens have been produced in economy on the basis of the prices that were last year or at the base year, that gives us real GDP. Now next is gross national product. Gross national product is GDP plus net factor income from the abroad. Tatas are owners of the Range Rover. Now they are earning from there. Similarly, Amazon is having their business setup in India. They are earning from India. So after calculating how much amount of money is going out from India and coming to India, we get the net factor income from abroad. And by adding this to the GDP, we get gross national product. That means whatever the Indian nationals have produced all over the world, that is known as gross national product. The next is net national product. Net national product is very simple. Remove depreciation from the GNP, it gives us net national product. Third is national income. When we calculate the national product at factor cost, net national product at factor cost, we get the national income. What is factor cost? Land, labor, entrepreneurship and capital. Land, labor, entrepreneurship and capital. Whatever income they are earning is known as factor cost. Along with that, when we add the taxes, it becomes the market price. So by adding the factor cost plus taxes, we get the market price. So national income is calculated by calculating the net national product at this factor cost. That is known as national income. Now when we calculate per capita income, how do we calculate it? It is the average income of the individuals. That means national income upon the population. There we get the per capita income. As we compare the per capita income of India and UK, the per capita income of India is 2,879 and that of UK is 54,949. That is almost 20 times that of India. So that's why India is still in the developing stage and UK and other developed countries are way higher because they are having a much higher per capita income. Now, based upon the discussion, you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. The fourth topic that we are having in the explain section is about the illegal migration. In the last 6 months, at least 770 from Delhi alone were deported to Bangladesh as a part of crackdown. Now, what is the backdrop here? Delhi, followed by Maharashtra, sent back most number of illegal Bangladeshi immigrants back to Bangladesh. This topic becomes relevant from GS paper 3, GS paper 1, population and issues. Also, you can cover this article in the GS paper 3 in the internal security aspect. Now let's see what is the details of the news. First of all, illegal migration. What is illegal migration? Illegal migration involves movement of individuals across national borders without proper authorization or valid documentation, often through unlawful methods. Now if we talk about the act that governs is Citizenship Act of 1955, this act becomes important for us. It defines an illegal migrant as a foreign national who either enters the country without a valid passport or legally prescribed legal travel documents. For example, visa is there. So these documents, if a person is entering without these documents, that person becomes an illegal migrant. Or enters with valid documents but overstays beyond the authorized duration of stay. So in any case, a person is not having documentation for his stay, that person will be considered as an illegal migrant. Next thing is who are migrants and how they are different from refugees. See, a refugee is a person who is forced to flee their country due to circumstances such as war, persecution or violence, often without prior notice. For example, a civil war breaks out in any country. In that case, the minorities or any particular community is being targeted and they have to flee. उनको वहां से भागना पड़ रहा है because now their survival is under threat. They will not be able to survive. They will be killed if they stay in that particular country. Those are known as refugees. The refugees, it becomes a responsibility of the countries to help the refugees, to solve the refugee crisis, because there it is talking about the situation of life and death. Secondly, migrant. Migrants they voluntarily choose to leave their home and relocate to another country or another place. Now, migration can be internal migration, it can be external migration as well. And usually, the migration happens for a better standard of living, better education facilities, better economic facility, economic opportunities. So on these economic opportunities, education or quality of life, these are the causes on which migration happens. For example, in India, we see a lot of migration from eastern states to the western states or to the southern states, which are comparatively more developed. Along with it, we see international migration as well. From Bangladesh, the migration is there. From Myanmar, the migration is there. So that is illegal migration that is happening outside the country. Now, all migration is not illegal. When you are traveling with proper authorization, when we are traveling with proper documentation, it is a legal migration. But when you travel without legal documentation, then it becomes an illegal migration. Now, migrants can return to their home country at their will, unlike the refugees. Now, how this illegal migration affects the country? There can be social, economical, security, etc. perspectives that are attached with the illegal migration. The first one is economic exploitation or economic challenges that we face. See, the illegal migrants are coming without any papers, so they work in informal and on temporary basis and in unprotected jobs, and may be subjected to forced labor due to lack of legal standards. Now, first of all, ethically this becomes wrong for us, that a country is not treating people with some decent manner. They are being treated in an indecent manner. Secondly, these things, when they start happening in an economy, when they start happening in a country, then these things are replicated to the own citizens as well, because it becomes a culture now. There are going to be labor market disruptions. जब आपको दिख रहा है कि the laborers can be exploited, then that tendency of exploiting laborers is now replicated to the citizens as well. जो बाहर से illegal migrants आए, they are being exploited and they are not raising their voice against them because they are not having legal documentation. वो उसको सह रहे हैं चीज़ों को. जब ये एटीट्यूड आ जाता है तो ये अफेक्ट करता है जो हमारे खुद के सिटीजन्स भी हैं, जो लेबरर्स इंडिया के हैं, वो भी इससे अफेक्ट होते हैं. Now, the whole culture of the industry changes according to these illegal migrants. So, first of all, these illegal migrants are creating a wrong precedents in the economy. Secondly, they are putting labor market disruptions also because they are creating competition. They are cheap, they are prone to exploitation, they are not raising their voice. And such things will be expected from the internal laborers as well. And these things will be replicated there as well. So there are going to be job losses. The wage will be very low for the country itself. There will be the illegal migrants will increase competition for the employment and potentially suppressing wages and reducing job opportunities for the local laborers. So that is affecting us. Then they are going to put strain on the public resource as well. Why? The dependence on public services like health, education and welfare is going to increase. So the service quality will be affected because now more people are availing that service. Thus, development of those sectors will be affected because now you are just trying to give a service instead of improving that. For example, अगर एक hospital के अंदर अगर capacity 100 की है and there are 1000 patients that are at the hospitals, how you are going to ensure that quality service is being provided, and how you are going to ensure that more better service can be taken care of, कि ज़्यादा अच्छी सर्विस की जा सकती है, वो कैसे हम इंश्योर करेंगे? Because we are engaged in providing service to 10 times more patients, which was the capacity of that hospital. So जब capacity से ज़्यादा हो जाएगा तो we will not be able to provide good quality of service and will not be able to improve our service quality as well. So overburdening is going to affect the service quality and improvement in the service quality as well. Secondly, they are not paying taxes as well. They are not paying taxes, or taxes are very, very negligible. So that burden comes on the taxpayers. So illegal migrants are going to affect us economically. They are going to affect the public resources that are available in the country. They are going to affect the quality of the resources, and these things create discontent among the citizens related with the government. So these are the issues that are that comes up due to illegal migrants. Next thing is the social challenges. The social and cultural tensions also spiral up. Why? Because there is demographic change. We are seeing in Assam itself, The Assamese identity in India is being threatened due to illegal migration from Bangladesh, sparking socio-political unrest. And there is violation of human rights as well. Why? The migrants face inhuman conditions such as assault, rape, extortion, exploitation during their journey and or their arrival, and this actually leads to degradation of the society as well. Because when you are not raising voice against these kinds of crimes, then these crimes are going to be replicated in the society as well. So that's why it affects the whole society. Then there is a risk of detention and deportation also that actually affect these illegal migrants, and government has to spend money also over those things. For example, the government is deporting the illegal migrants from Delhi to Agartala. Now, while deporting them, the government is also spending its resources in taking a flight and also spending on security of theirs. So the constant fear of deportation and poor detention conditions affect mental, physical, and social well-beings of the detainees, including the children as well. Then there are security challenges also. National security concerns, for example, entry without proper vetting raises risk of criminal activity, terrorism, and human trafficking. Then facilitation of the organized crimes. Smuggling networks and organized criminals group often aid illegal migration, increasing cross-border crimes. So these are the various ill effects of illegal migrants. So that's why illegal migration should be tackled in a very, very serious manner. Now, based upon the discussion, you have to attempt these MCQs. This is a previous year MCQ that you have to attempt, and this is a practice MCQ. Now it's time for decoding the editorial. The editorial that we're having today is poverty fell significantly last year. Much of it was driven by GDP growth. So this topic is relevant. Why? Because there has been a decline in the poverty in India and it has been revealed by the recent reports that have come up. This topic becomes relevant from paper GS1, GS2, GS3 as well as in essay. You can include these datas. This topic is related with the poverty section. Now let's see what is the report. As per the World Bank, India has significantly reduced the poverty over the past decade. Extreme poverty, that is living less than $2.15 per day in PPP terms, has declined from 16.2% in 2011-12 to 2.3% in 2022-23. This data becomes important for you. You can note down this data. And more than 170 million people were lifted above conditions of extreme poverty during this period. So this is the report as revealed by the World Bank recently. If we see the data also, the poverty lines in India are defined along to the report given by the Rangarajan Committee, or the poverty estimates or methodology given by the Rangarajan Committee. This committee says that for 2023-24, the rural poverty line will be 1,940 per month, and for the urban it is 2,736 per month. This is the monthly per capita consumption expenditure. It simply means a person or a family, if they are, it simply means if a person on monthly basis is able to spend 1,940 rupees, then that person is above poverty line in a rural area. And if he is able to spend more than 2,736 rupees per month in an urban area, then that person is above poverty line. Now, if we talk about the estimates of the poverty ratio, both urban and rural, that is combined one, in 2011-12, it was 29.5% according to these poverty lines that we have talked about. In 2023-24, it is 4.9%. So that is a feat that we have achieved. We have reduced the poverty by 7 times. So that becomes important for India. Next thing is poverty estimates. Poverty declined significantly between 2011-12 and 2023. That is 12.05% percentage points per annum. There is decline in inequality also. Inequality, how do we calculate it? We calculate it by Gini coefficient. It has also fallen from 0.310 to 0.253. So there is decline in the poverty levels. There is decline in the absolute number of people under poverty. There is decline in the inequality also. So these 3 data you should be knowing. Then what are the factors responsible for decline in the poverty? The first and foremost factor is the strong GDP growth that we are observing. High and consistent economic growth, averaging 6 to 7% over last two decades, have expanded the income opportunities. In 2023-24, GDP growth was 9.2%, up from 7.6% in the previous year. Then economic expansion increases employment, wages and demand for goods and services, lifting people out of the poverty. Then lower inflation, especially overall CPI. CPI inflation dropped from 6.7% in 2023-23 to 5.4% in 23-24, improving the real purchasing power. So there is increase in GDP, that means income has increased. There is decline in inflation, that means the burden has decreased. So these two factors importantly have helped in reducing poverty. Now there have been stable prices, households can afford more with the same income. Then more things are there. There have been government welfare and social protection schemes also. DBT, PM Kisan, Ujjwala, Manrega, PDS, all these have helped the people, the families below poverty line to tackle or to have better standards of living. Then there is better financial inclusion also. The government has launched schemes like Jan Dhan Yojana, which have increased the access to banking and saving, and benefits are directly deposited into the accounts and are able to save the small surpluses, which can then be later on used. Then urbanization and structural shift is there. Movement of labor from agriculture to higher productivity sector like services, construction and manufacturing is also contributing here. Then demographic and educational improvements are also there. The literacy rates have increased. The health and nutrition levels have also increased because now government is helping through various schemes. Now better earning potential is there, and the dependency on there's low dependency of ratios in the poor households. That is, most of the people are working in the poor households. So these factors have helped in reducing poverty in our country. Now, why is the poverty alleviation so much important? There can be debate over this. We should be focusing on poverty. Poverty alleviation is a very, very important criteria to ensure a sustained development for the country as well as for a sustainable development. That is development that is taking care of environment as well. First of all, the poverty has an economic impact. There is low productivity and low employability. Why? Because poor health and lack of education do not help in improving the productivity. Due to the poor health and lack of education, there is lack of low productivity and employability. Second, the higher informal employment is there due to lack of job security and social protection. Then slow economic growth, that is persistent poverty limits the domestic consumption and saving, and it affects our economic growth as well. So as we are reducing the poverty, our growth rate is going to increase multiple fold times because the demand will be more there in the economy. And if the demand is more in the economy, that means it is going to create more employment in the economy. Then social impact is there. Inequality and exclusion is there. Poverty deepens the caste, gender and regional inequalities. Then child labor and early marriages. Poor families often push children into work or early marriages to reduce financial burdens. Malnutrition and hunger, inability to access nutritious foods leads to higher rates of children shunting and underweight conditions. Then social unrest and crimes. Obviously, high poverty rate will fuel crime, unrest, extremist movements due to dissatisfaction and inequality. The Red Corridor, the Maoism in India, the Naxalism in India, why they are there? Because these are in the poverty affected areas. So by tackling poverty, we are also tackling crime. We are also tackling social issues. Migration pressure. Distress migration from rural to urban areas lead to slums, unemployment and urban congestion. Vulnerable population with respect to health. Limited healthcare facilities there. Poor people are not able to take care of the health expenditure, and that as they are not able to afford the quality healthcare, it leads to untreated illness and high mortality, ultimately affecting the productivity. Spread of disease. Poor sanitation and overcrowded living conditions increase the risk of infectious diseases as well. Then educational impact. Low enrollment and dropouts. Children from poor families often drop out due to lack of resources or need to earn. poor learning outcomes. Limited access to quality education and digital resources affect skill development and future employment as well. Then political and governance impact is also there. Exclusion from governance. The poor often lack awareness or access to government schemes, reducing their participation in democracy. And whenever they are not actively participating in the democracy, then the electoral malpractices like corruption in elections and freebies culture are going to spiral up. They are going to increase because now the electorate is looking for short-term gains. कि आज पैसा मिल जाए हम उसी को वोट डाल देंगे, या यहाँ से ये बेनिफिट मिल रहा है हम इसको वोट डालेंगे. So instead of taking sensible decisions, the democracy is now undermined by the freebies and the electoral malpractices. Then corruption and leakages are also there. Welfare benefits meant for poor are often misused or diverted. Why? Because there is lack of awareness and there is a weak delivery mechanism as well. Then environmental impacts. Dependence on natural resources. Once our Prime Minister said that poverty is the biggest polluter. That simply means that due to poverty, we are not able to use the resources efficiently. When we are not able to use the resources efficiently, it leads to more and more pollution. So the poor people rely heavily on forest, land, water for survival, leading to overexploitation. The climate vulnerability for the poor is very, very high. They are most affected by the floods, droughts, extreme weather due to weak housing and savings. Then what are the various schemes that the government has taken in past years to alleviate poverty in the country? There have been employment generation schemes like Manrega, Prime Minister Employment Generation Programs. Then urban and livelihood policies are there. For example, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, NRLM, NULM schemes have been launched. Food and nutrition securities, we have National Food Security Act NFSA of 2013. Midday meal scheme, Poshan Abhiyan. So these are taking care of the nutrition part. Then health and social security, Ayushman Bharat, PMJAY. Then National Old Age Pension Scheme, NOAPS. Then National Social Assistance Program. These are the programs run for the social security. Then we have housing and basic needs, Indira Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Then Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Jal Jeevan Mission. So all these schemes are helping us in improving the elevating the poverty levels in the country. Then for the financial inclusion, a very important scheme, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. For skill development, PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana. For rural and agriculture development, PM Kisan, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So all these schemes are being run to tackle the menace of poverty in the country, and these schemes have given us a very positive result. Now the levels of poverty in India are in single digit. That is a very, very good signs for the India. Now based upon the discussion, you have to attempt this mains answer and post your answers in the comment box. We conclude with this and thank you very much.